Young blood made of gold, a mind you can't control. Running wild, can't come down, my head is in the clouds. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now, do it like it's only today. We gotta party for a lifetime, no we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No we don't care about the bad nights, before a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. We gotta party for a lifetime, no we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No we don't care about the bad nights, before a second I can feel like this, make me feel like this. I'm on my last straw, I'm broken and I'm woken up. I'm done feeding your lies, I've had enough. I can't run your place in this faulty game. And all the words you speak mean nothing more to me, 'cause let's start over now. Rewind, and I won't let you go. I need you by my side. Come along with me, together with the truth you see. Got our pearls and our laughter too. The search for facts is always new. In this place we keep it real, classy vibes and joyful zeal. Join the journey, it's just begun. We shine brighter than the sun. Hit the light and share the vibe. Flash those pearls, let's Thank you all for standing strong. Together we belong. Hit the light and share the light. Crush those pearls, let's take the ride. Come in here and spread the cheer. Members make the truth so clear.
The pearls were bound together through the storm and darkest weather. We search high, we search low, together everywhere we go. Justin's here and he's going live with the best fans by my side. We're a family, we hold strong. Together we can right the wrong. We clutch them pearls, we shine like stars.
Who's wearing the pearls
today? Every stream, every heartfelt plea. We are one in this community. Daily grind, but we're not stopping. Pearls around the world just popping. With each view and every share, we send hope and show we care. We clutch them pearls, we shine like stars. Searching wide, spreading love afar. Every stream, every heartfelt plea. We are one in this community. Daily grind, but we're not stopping. Pearls around the world just popping. With each view and every share, we send hope and show we care. We clutch them pearls, we shine like stars. Searching wide, spreading love afar. Every stream, every heartfelt plea. We are one in this community. In the night or in the day, pearls will light and lead the way. Justin's heart and your support. Together we will hold the fort. Daily grind, but we're not stopping. Pearls around the world just popping. With each view and every share, we send hope and show we care.
Click play and come along with me. Together with the truth you see. Got our pearls and our laughter too. The search for facts is always new. In this place we keep it real. Classy vibes and joyful zeal. Join the journey, it's just begun. We shine brighter than the sun. Hit the like and share the vibe. Clutch those pearls, let's take the ride. Comments here and spread the cheer. Members make the truth so clear. Defending truth is what we do. So hit subscribe and join the crew. With every search we pave the way. Together we will save the day. Defending truth is what we do. So hit subscribe and join the crew. With every search we pave the way. Together we will save the day. With every laugh we lift our hearts. In the search we all take part. Thank you all for standing strong. Together we belong. Hit the like and share the vibe. Clutch those pearls, let's take the ride. Comments here and spread the cheer. Members make the truth so clear. Hit the like and share the vibe. Clutch those pearls, let's take the ride. Comments here and spread the cheer. Members
Well, hello, 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 my beautiful pearls. Thank you all so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is April 21st, 2025. It is currently 6:36 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. You're finally back to normal, says Panda. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you so much. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. It is rainy and dreary here today, but you know what? We make Hollywood wherever we're at, don't we, Pearls? Doesn't matter if it's raining, doesn't matter if it's snowing, it doesn't matter any of it. We do it right. Um, oh, thank you guys. You guys are very sweet. Yes, please keep uh middle E in your prayer. That's Mr. and Mrs. E's son. He has been battling um cancer, childhood cancer, and they are wonderful, wonderful people. You can't get any better than the E's. You really can't, in my opinion. They keep it classy. Um, they always do. And I've been, I've met Middle E, and he is just an amazing young man, really is. And so lots of prayers going on to the E's, all of them. So middle E needs prayers, of course, and but so does the rest of the family. It's very hard. Cancer is one of those things that it sucks, to say the least. To say the least. Sassy, thank you so much, my dear, for 8 months. Really do appreciate that. Thank you for being a fantastic. Well, thank you, Miss Sassy T. Always a pleasure to see you, my dear. Thank you so much for your support. I love your photo. I love it. You're so cute there. Thank you so much, Miss Sassy T. Really do appreciate that. Hobo, hi, darling. Good to see you. Hope you are feeling well. Really do appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for gifting a pearl necklace. If you receive that, please make sure you thank our beautiful hobo for gifting that. Well, the thing is about, you know, every every everyone is affected with cancer in one way or another in our lives. Now I think it's one out of every two people will have cancer at some point in their life. That's half of us. That's not good. Not good at all. So it's an awful thing. There needs to be a cure. Pronto. Pronto. All right, guys. So we are going over the Sebastian Rogers case. We are at 14 months. I found some stuff that I have not yet seen before, and maybe you have, maybe you haven't. And I do want to go over some of the Chris McDonough interview that that he and keep wanting to say Dr. Gary, but it's not Dr. Gary. One second, I'll find it here. Um, I've taken his classes too. I just can't think right now. Steve Johnson. There we go. did on some of these interviews. I know a lot of you said you either haven't seen it or you would like to see it again, and we're going to go over some of that. But there was some interesting calls that came in the very early days to Nick Barris's morning show program. I want to go over those as well. So we're going to go over some of those. Guys, hit that thumbs up button, please. Would greatly appreciate that. And we're going to go over all that. Also, I want to show you a few things here that I found interesting. Of course, Lauren from Facebook, she put these together. March 15th, Edgar says he passed a polygraph. March 25th, Edgar says he's never taken a polygraph. April 16th, Burton Staggs claims Edgar passed a polygraph. May 23rd, CP refers to his polygraph as an open book cheat test. And I actually have this screenshot as well. March 15th. Have you both taken a polygraph test? And if so, what are the results? Thank you. FUFU, which that's who it is. Yes, and the results are passed. Again, semantics of Edgar. And the results are passed. I did get a haircut, Mama Sam. Thank you. Then
Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand. Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
I have.
well,
I have not.
she
Would-
she should have clipped, in my opinion, on a little bit further on down whenever he says name the time and place, in my opinion, on this. And then Burton S. Staggs, I guess he's a local reporter. A source with knowledge tells me that Edgar P. Foot passed his polygraph today with the
Would you be willing
TBI. Now, that is April 16th. I don't believe he's
But
ever
all the
taken a polygraph.
but all the questions, you get them read to you, and if there's a question you do not like, you don't like the way it's worded, cool. You sit down and you can change it. It is an open book cheat test. I kid you not. It's that easy.
Open book cheat test. If it's such an open book cheat test, why didn't you do it with Nancy Grace? And to be honest with you, I think if they would let him rearrange the questions, he might believe how he actually would change the questions and believe his own BS, in my opinion. KK doesn't say she passed it. CC, you're not the only one that said that. You're not the only one that said that. I've had a lot of people say that. Good question, Julie. Good question. All right. Now, I want to play. Oh. Where was this? Okay, I want to show y'all something. This was very interesting to me. Someone sent this to me earlier. Okay, first of all, I want to ask you guys. Did anyone ever remember hearing that KK was picking up her niece or something to take to a cheerleading class? Hey, Angel, darling, good to see you. Dirty Diana, Girl Mom, Holly, Eileen, Susan, Tugs, Sharon. Does anyone remember that? It's Me Jen says yes. Rhonda says yes. Yes, I've heard that. Again, I have someone sent this to me, and remember, this is not me saying this, but it is someone who put that out. At Dara Nebel's home, KP picked up 2 of Dara's daughters. Family has 8 children, 15 years and younger. From what I understand, that is true, that part. Oldest 5 children are girls. Look at her Facebook family photos. Imagine how embarrassing it might have been to be Lexi, daughter of CP's sister, age 12, with step cousin Sebastian picking up 2 of these girls, prom date pageant cheerleader types. Oh my God, the comment of teens to a younger girl whose mom, Melissa Pfoot, asked Katie to pick up after she picked up Lexi. Great. Sebastian gets to socialize with girls who are riding in their vehicle to go to cheer practice, question mark. What could go wrong? Monday the 26th. Everybody agreed. We had a good day Sunday. Do you get that? Not cheerleading. She said cheerleading type. Cheerleading type. There's something, the thing is, what I don't understand is KK says her and Sebastian left BJ's by themselves. By themselves. That was after noon. Or no, sorry, that was at noon. Before noon, rather. Before noon. Dara says KK, a niece, and Sebastian were at her house in the afternoon. I heard the niece went back to the house after them after BJ's. Maybe. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan. What's wrong with him being with his cousins? Nothing wrong with being with his cousins. I just no, I didn't know if anybody ever heard that. I don't know. It's interesting to me though. I'm still invisible in your chat. Why? Honey, I have no idea. You're not blocked at all. I don't understand. Someone just sent me a message saying, allegedly, by the way, the show may come, from what I understand, people are saying it could come out tonight or tomorrow on Hulu. I've not heard that yet. If it is, that's interesting. I want to go over some of the things that. Let me just play this first, maybe. I'll just play this first. This is really interesting if you listen to this. This was taken March 7th, 2024. Nick Barris, in the morning time. And obviously Sebastian had been missing for several days at this time. America's Most Wanted is on Fox at 9 tonight. I believe it was one of the 3 episode specials that night. Remember when KK said on the phone call with Heather she isn't going to talk about the niece because she has been through enough? What about her son? Right. Yes. I just they were extra critical of Sebastian, and you always hear Edgar saying he doesn't want his daughter around Sebastian, like living under the same roof. And, just makes you wonder, like, if that did happen, could something have happened? Justin, I saw that on Facebook and wondered, how did Katie have those kids in the car? And she never mentioned it. I think it's important to the timeline. Right. Tina, I'm not exactly sure yet, but hopefully we'll know soon. But I agree with you, girl mom. Absolutely. All right, come on. Let's watch this. Listen to this, guys.
Continuing search and mystery around the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers, the 15-year-old autistic boy out of Sumner County, Tennessee. A lot of really good questions, and we're going to take phone calls here in a moment. Let me address some of these that have come across here. And let me say just up front right now, again, I know a lot of people are going to look, and it's obvious, okay? I've said before, if my wife were to disappear this morning and I had nothing to do with it, the next day when law enforcement responds, I'm instantly the number one suspect, whether I did it or not. They'll look at it. They'll have to find evidence linking me to it. Oh, yes. When a child disappears, the number one suspects, okay, are those closest to him, period, at that point. Now, again, many times that's not the case, but that's it. And I know a lot of you are pointing toward the mother and father. And let me just say up front, we understand they've been cooperative. Okay? The stepfather said in one of the podcasts that they've been cleared of any wrongdoing by authorities. Authorities have not said anything about anyone being cleared.
And again, this is March 7th. Edgar's already saying that they have been cleared. Not just him and Katie, but him, Katie, and Seth. That has not ever been the case. You've never heard, Seth saying, law enforcement cleared me, right? He's saying, I want you guys to clear me, even though we know he was at work. It's just, you ask yourself why.
Authorities have confirmed they've cooperated, but authorities have not publicly said that anyone has been cleared. And I imagine at this point, everyone potentially is a suspect that knew the child as they shift, I believe, to a criminal investigation here. That being said, many of you are asking about potential inconsistencies that you've heard in some of these interviews.
Hold on. What did Nick say right there? Let's just go back there on March 7th.
Authorities have not publicly said that anyone has been cleared. And I imagine at this point, everyone potentially is a suspect that knew the child as they shift, I believe, to a criminal investigation here. That being said, many of you are asking about potential inconsistencies that you've heard in some of these interviews, which may be one reason why the stepfather and mother backed out of an interview with me yesterday. I didn't hear anything from them after they had done 2 other ones initially.
Oh, wow. They backed out of an interview on March 7th? Edgar and KK, you guys backed out of an interview on March 7th? Well, that's interesting to know. That's very interesting. Will be premiere April 28th at 8 p.m. on Fox. Thank you so much. So next week. Thank you so much. Yep, they backed out of an interview with him the day before this aired. There you go. I have not seen this before. I've seen the one with him and I guess it's, Seth's boss overall.
And maybe the day later, they started having some folks ask about, wait, you said something in this interview that you said differently in the interview. And mother backed out of an interview with me yesterday. You've heard in some of these interviews, which may be one reason why the stepfather and mother backed out of an interview with me yesterday. I didn't hear anything from them after they had done 2 other ones initially. And maybe the day later, they started having some folks ask about, wait, you said something in this interview that you said differently in the interview with the TBI or police. I don't know that that's the case, but some of you have pointed this out. For instance, the mother said that, she put him to bed. And the next morning, she got up and he was gone. And the stepfather and mother said along the lines of, yeah, he just left through the front door barefoot with a flashlight. Okay, well, how do they know that he went out the front door? Maybe the front door was open. They didn't provide more details. But how do they know that if they were asleep? They woke up, did he go out the back door? Did he go out some other way? How did they know he's barefoot? I guess his shoes were still there. And many of you making the point, why would this child, who liked to keep things clean and, was very, I think, he's set in his ways, why would he just leave in the middle of the night barefoot? And
Good question. Good question, right? Because they don't. They don't just leave in the middle of the night, especially without their shoes or anything else. And anyone who believes that, then go try it in February. Go try it. I mean, really, go walk outside barefooted in the dark for a couple miles and see how far you actually get before you would turn around. Not to mention, he has the chromosome deletion, which is after him feeling, getting scared or hearing a sound or anything, he's going to freak out. He's going to freak out, and then he's going to go into a tailspin, a cycle. Yes, it is, Sugar Beet. It sure is. Okay, I'll look again.
how do they know that he grabbed a flashlight? Well, I guess the flashlight's missing. Maybe that's it. There's questions. Some other people say she has a couple of dogs, Yorkies, that were maybe sleeping with her. If they are indeed Yorkies, would they have not heard him and started yapping and woken everything up? I know I've got little dogs and they hear anything at night and like a fire alarm going off. All right, these are all fair questions, but it doesn't mean that the parents had anything necessarily to do with it. But other people asking the possibility of lie detector tests. Could they be asked? Again, they're not suspects. Police have not said anything in this. And gosh, it's horrible to shine the light on the parents, though that's part of the investigation, when they may just be heartbroken and had nothing to do with this. But as it progresses, if it gets to that, they could be asked if they'd be willing to take a lie detector test. It's up to them if they want to do it. Lie detectors are not admissible in court, but they can be a valuable investigative tool for law enforcement. At this point, too, I do not know whether or not the family, the stepfather and mother, have hired an attorney. Don't know. Possible. If they have, doesn't mean anything other than they're just being prudent and want to protect their own interests so things don't get out of control. But I don't know that. People are asking about, have they hired a lawyer? Let's take a few phone calls. Ashley, good morning. Hi, Ashley.
Listen to these phone calls.
Are you there,
Hey,
Ass?
I just
Hey,
wanted to know,
yeah.
do we know when the stepdad left to go out of town?
Okay, and maybe some on Facebook or others here can weigh in on that, and that's a
Listen to
great
locals,
question.
what they
I
say.
mean,
The
he
last phone
supposedly
call is
left town,
very interesting.
supposedly is a crane operator, a heavy equipment operator, maybe doing work in Memphis. In one of the interviews I heard, he talked about how it was his wife who called him the next morning and said, oh, he's not here. And they talked about it, and she immediately called the sheriff's department that then responded to the scene. So, yes, I don't know when he left. He is saying that he was not there at the home that night. Sounds like in the house the night that
March
Sebastian disappeared.
7th, I
My
think,
understanding, it was just his mother and Sebastian with the father on business. Now, when did he leave? When did he get back the next day? All of that, I don't know, and law enforcement has not shared that. Now, they're going to be checking. Maybe that's one of the reasons they're asking to see ring camera or security camera video from earlier in the day on Sunday to show if, maybe they can see when he left the house or when any suspicious character might have been around in the area. But that's a fair question, okay? I mean, he wasn't there that night, but some people are making the theory, well, maybe,
7th or 10th, I can't
family's
remember.
involved. And again, you guys are bringing it up, so I'll just say this is not fair because we have no evidence of this. Maybe Sebastian disappeared earlier in the day. Maybe, and this is the story later. Again, I don't want to go too much more toward that because it's not fair to this family at this point. I know that's where a lot of you are going, but there can be a lot of...
This was aired March 7th, 2024. It's
other
very
explanations
interesting
for
to
what
listen
happened to him.
these.
Until there's evidence, it's not fair to judge. But these questions, I think, are fair. Let's go next to...
And guess what? 14 months later, Edgar still hasn't said what he did Sunday evening, how many times he came home during the month. He doesn't talk about what he did, where he was, how he was on the phone. What was it? Sunday night. How law enforcement says out of all the people, he can't give specific times or specific dates. Yet he says he was 3.5 hours away.
Linda. Linda, good morning. Hi, Linda.
Hi. The lady just answered my question, just
Chica,
asked the
sure
same
did.
question. But my other question, did Sebastian have brother and sister that lived in the house also?
No, what we've had, and this was shared by the stepfather, Sebastian does not have a brother and sister there. He has a stepsister. It's his stepfather's daughter. And the stepfather shared this in the podcast, doesn't want to talk more about it, but he is involved in, I think, a custody battle with his ex-wife over the stepdaughter who lives out of state. I believe they live in New Mexico. But I think there have been times when the stepdaughter has been there with them. And I believe that she and Sebastian knew each other. But she was not there. She, I believe, lives in either Colorado or New Mexico with her mother. And that's all I know about that. And that's basically what the stepfather conceded. Yes, I'm in a custody battle, but I don't see how that's germane to the disappearance of Sebastian. But yeah, people did wonder if he had siblings. Let's go to Bolinda. Hi, Bolinda. Hi.
How many times has the stepfather and the mother had the cops called on them there? And did they vet his previous relationship with the mother of his children? Because it sounds like that right there where you just said in New Mexico or Mexico, wherever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone vetted his life down there?
All right, meaning law enforcement. Now, I'll say this, in talking to the stepfather, that was brought up, and he believes that his ex-wife has nothing to do with this whatsoever. I have been in touch with some people close to, the ex-wife of his, and my understanding is she, to this point, has not been contacted by any local authorities, and I would take it to mean that maybe they will at some point. But I don't believe that there's any indication that she's involved. And the stepfather told me as much as well. So yeah, that's what we know about that. Let's go next to Briley. Hi, Briley. Good morning. Are you there, Briley?
Oh,
hi.
sorry, yes, it's
What's on your mind?
Brittany.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brittany. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So first and foremost, I just want to say that Sebastian is the number one in this situation, and this has really tore up this community. We're a very tight community here in the Shackle Island area. And, you know, like you said, you don't just vanish. We keep playing that scenario that if he left, but there's no indication that he did. There's no scent, there's no trace. And based on cameras and the area, if Sebastian left the home, as they're saying, with no shoes on, we would have some evidence that something would have came up by now.
Yes.
You know, I feel like that's pretty standard. And then the step, you know, I know we don't want to keep going into the stepfather, but as you talked about the other day on your live, if your wife was to go missing, you would be the first person as the suspect. And I feel like unless we can have a time frame that this stepfather was in Memphis, I just don't see how he's got anger issues. I mean, all of these things, it's been said that he's been married 6 times, that he has an order of protection. You're not granted an order of protection against your child for no reason. There's a lot of things that I've been looking into, and it's fair to question these things because this 15-year-old child is now missing.
Right. It is fair. And again, careful with what you pick up on Facebook. She mentioned a few things. I have no knowledge of prior criminal wrongdoing or violence or anything like that. And I know there's a bunch of stuff on social media, and I talked to the stepfather about that day, and it's frustrating. And you have to wait for things that are confirmed. But she's correct. I mean, these are questions. So let's just go then a little bit beyond this. If we're assuming someone was involved, okay? And I think we all would agree that seems a very real possibility, though it's not definitive. Okay, first 2 that you look at are parents, okay? And not the biological parent who's in Clarksville and not the ex-wife who's in New Mexico, but the mother and the stepfather. Okay, those would be the first 2 that are going to be on the list. All right, who else? Potentially any close friends, any neighbors. They're probably running through and checking to see if there are any convicted sex offenders or others with violent criminal records that potentially live in the area. Could someone else have grabbed him? We understand that the family was very strict about social media, so they don't think he was on a video game and made contact with someone who lured him out. But who knows? Maybe they've gone on to his media and found that this kid found a way around that and was doing it.
I've seen it.
So what are the options then? Is it just random? Let's just say he did just, someone else hit me up on this. I mean, when you talk about you're considering everything, little boy walks out into the road, and someone late at night on a late Sunday night had a little too much to drink, doesn't see the kid, hits him, freaks out, takes the kid in the car and drives away. And I don't think that's what happened, but I'm just saying.
I don't think that's what happened either, because you're going to have a scent at the very least, and you're most likely going to have other people see him at some point as well, or he would be on scene some camera somewhere.
If you want to start throwing theories out there, something like that, they would take the kid because they don't want to be charged with hitting and killing a child when they're drinking, so they disappear. So that was a theory that was thrown out with Joe Clyde Daniels, the little boy that disappeared out of Dixon County several years ago. His father ultimately was convicted in that case, confessed under questioning, but that little boy's body has never been found. And I can say this, Joe Clyde Daniels' father would not be serving life in prison had he not confessed, because without physical evidence and without the body, the police would not have had much, but he confessed, okay? In this case, let me just tell you, as we move forward, and we sure hope Sebastian is still alive, as more time passes, you're going to have to assume something bad happened. And if his body's never recovered, it's going to be more difficult to convict whoever's responsible for this. That's all my point is on that. Let's go next to, is it Briley on? I took Brittany. Let's go to Christian. Christian, good morning. Hi, Christian.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. Quite a few of the questions that were answered by others, I'm glad. There is one thing. a 15-year-old phone. They keep them in their hands. And this is something I don't have to remind really anybody.
Sure.
Look at all little kids, all young people, and a lot of old people. They keep that phone in their hand. And then when you said something about barefooted, as the weather was at that time, etc., they wouldn't be going outside without the shoes on. That should have been an indicator that something has taken place, most likely within that house. And another thing, too, is have they looked at anyone that he has been close to that could have picked him up, which I very likely doubt.
Yeah, let me say, we have to go to a break, but you make some good points. With regard to the cell phone, the mother said, I believe in one of the interviews, or the stepfather, that he did not have a cell phone with him. And that would be easy enough. If he had a cell phone and there's a way to ping it, they'd be all over that by now, okay? So the indication was he left barefoot in his pajamas with a flashlight is the working story. That's it. Nothing else. Didn't take the cell phone, anything along those lines. So, yeah, it's a real curiosity then if that's the case and no scent. Law enforcement knows everything you're bringing up right now. And trust me, there are things that they are working on that we don't know that they haven't shared, which is important because of the investigation. In fact, there have been some things that have been shared with me, there's things they're looking in, nothing definitive, that I'm not going to share because I don't want to do anything to jeopardize this.
Oh, really? Did you hear that?
Investigation. But there are just things out there. But I can tell you this, based on everything I know, they're still working it. They don't have the evidence. It's not pointing in any special direction or anything to jeopardize this investigation. But there are just things out there, but they're working on that we don't know that they haven't shared, which is important because of the investigation. In fact, there have been some things that have been shared with me, there's things they're looking in, nothing definitive, that I'm not going to share because I don't want to do anything to jeopardize this investigation. But there are just things out there. But I can tell you this, based on everything I know, they're still working it. They don't have the evidence. It's not pointing in any special direction yet at this point, at least with what I know. Maybe there's things they haven't shared and they're further along than we know. And that's why you keep following this story. We'll take a break. Be back with more of your phone calls.
Now, when is it that he said, he said it's pointing towards foul play at the end of this, or at the beginning of this, but then he did a live stream that within a night or so, and he talks about what does he say? He talks about that it is foul play. That's what he talks about. Now watch this. Here we go.
Wednesday, a special edition of Morning Line. No guest coming on this morning. It's just going to be me and you. And we are going to talk about the ongoing search for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, who has been missing now by just about 10 days since he vanished from his home, as many of you know, in Hendersonville, Tennessee, there in Sumner County. And we're going to take phone calls this morning. Just let you know that right now, we are on News Channel 5 Plus. Okay, that's cable channel 250 on Comcast. If you're watching, you know that. We also right now, if you have an antenna, are at 5.2. You can tune into the antenna.
Absolutely,
and
Carolina.
Today, we don't do this with every one of our programs, but today we wanted to do this because there's so much interest. We are also right now streaming live on Facebook at newschannel5.com. If you go to Facebook, it'll be on there. You can message us with questions on the Facebook page. You also can call into the show as always. 737-7587 is the number if you'd like to join in the conversation, ask a question or offer an opinion. We're open for that this morning. Just before we get to that, real quickly.
I just don't like how he started walking things back. I think he pissed law enforcement off when he leaked that video. Really pissed them off, and so then he tried to walk it back to be
First
like,
thing off the top of the show, no new developments to report at this point. Over the past
Come on, y'all, hit that thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate it. Consider becoming a member of the Pearl family.
Couple of days, there really have not been any updates from investigators. They've early on held some news conferences within the first few days. Since then, not. And I understand that. They're very busy, and unless there's something new to report, they won't. But the important thing, despite the fact that there may not be news conferences with updates, is we don't let this story fall back down into the news coverage pages. You know what I mean? The back pages. This, to me, remains a very important story until we find out what happened to Sebastian Rogers. So we'll continue to do shows like this. I continue to post on my Facebook page, Nick Barris NC, on the last couple of days. We have a story that aired on our newscast that I put together from 2 days ago. And since then, not much has changed from what I've said along these lines about the transition, where they have started, they said, scaling back on the search effort, and I'll go into why, and now have turned more to what authorities officially publicly said was investigative angle to this. I know from sources close to this investigation, they're not saying so publicly, but I know that means they are focusing more on the possibility of foul play, that this is becoming potentially a criminal investigation. So let's take a look at the.
Let's back that up.
And now have turned more to what authorities officially publicly said was investigative angle to this. I know from sources close to this investigation, they're not saying so publicly, but I know that means they are focusing more on the possibility of foul play, that this is becoming potentially a criminal investigation. So let's take a look at the story from just a couple days ago. As I said, not much has changed from that, just to set the table. And then we're going to open it up to phones, and I'll look at the comments that many of you send in on Facebook. So let's take a look at that story.
Again, that I think it's that night he does a news live and he says they're saying that it could be foul play. I'm telling you, it's foul play. Brandy and Indy, thank you so very much. Just like Nick Barris's sources said on March 7th, 2024, that it's foul play. Well, guess what? I have an email directly from Sebastian's, the one who was on Sebastian's case for the past year. And he says this is a criminal investigation, which would equal foul play. Right? Why did it freeze? And it froze. 1 second. Nick, did you have them take this off? He's probably watching right now and he had it taken off. His son is now the producer at News Channel 5, I think. He's like, pull it.
From the News Channel 5.
That's where it was.
You know what I mean? The back pages. This, to me, remains a very important story until we find out what happened to Sebastian Rogers. So we'll continue to do shows like this, investigative angle to this. I know from sources close to this investigation, they're not saying so publicly, but I know that means they are focusing more on the possibility of foul play, that this is becoming potentially a criminal investigation. So let's take.
Oh, thank you so much, Brandy and Indy. Love you long time. Alex, I'll take foul play potpourri for 1,000. I'm ready to clear this category. Same, Stillwaters. God. Same. Absolutely. Brandy and Indy, thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate you. Justin the child, baby behind Sebastian's right shoulder, has on a summer top. What are you talking about? Where? Shut up. Shut up. Real. Let me see. Hold on.
Take a look at the story from just a couple days ago. As I said,
Let me
not much has
find it.
changed from that, just to set the table. And then we're going to open it up to phones, and I'll look at the comments that many of you send in on Facebook. So let's take a look at that story. The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very real possibility of foul play. 7 days of intense searching from the ground and air. Hundreds of officers and citizens, bloodhounds, and nothing. No security video of the teen and no trace of Sebastian.
We're used to producing, and this is one of those cases that we haven't been able to produce yet.
No one is giving up. Sebastian could still be alive somewhere, alone, hurt, lost, or trapped. The search effort will continue, but
we're scaling it back a little bit.
what exactly does that mean? Well, sources close to the case confirm authorities are now considering foul play and that this missing teen case could become a criminal investigation. Sebastian's mother and stepfather broke their silence, talking about how he disappeared from them overnight a week ago Sunday. The two spoke on a YouTube podcast called Missing Tennessee with Duchess.
And when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
Between the hours of 12 and 6,
All right, darling. Thank you guys so much. I apologize. Brandy and Indy, thank you, my darling, beautiful friend, for helping a girl out. Really do appreciate you. Let's. I was looking for. I don't see. We're gonna get back to that interview here, but Mohawk, I don't see like a summer. Oh my God, I don't see like a summer shirt. Is this the one you're talking about? Is this the one you're talking about? Oh my God, Psychic Amelia is late. God, what am I gonna do with y'all? Psychic Amelia, to the office, please. You're being paged. Psychic Amelia, to the office, please. You're being paged. We need a late slip for Miss Psychic Amelia. She said the one with 3 photos. I don't know what you mean. I really don't. Can we get a late slip for Miss Psychic Amelia, please? All right, here we go. Here we go. Watch this.
Look at the comments that many of you send in on Facebook. So let's take a look at that story. The original thinking was that Sebastian Rogers left home on his own, but the fact that he disappeared without a trace now has authorities looking into the very
Thank
real
you.
possibility of foul play.
I crashed.
Consider 7 days of intense
Always
searching
wait,
from the
hello.
ground and air. Hundreds of officers and citizens, bloodhounds, and nothing. No security video of the teen and no trace of Sebastian.
We're used to producing, and this is one of those cases that we haven't been able to produce yet.
No.
Well, it's hard to produce something whenever he didn't walk out the door, right? You can't produce something if there is nothing that, not a scent, nothing of him going in a direction or anything like that in the beginning. So obviously they can't really produce anything unless, and I think that's when it became, in my opinion, criminal.
Sebastian could still be alive somewhere, alone, hurt, lost, or
Thank you,
trapped.
Jen.
The search effort will continue, but
We're scaling it back a little bit.
what exactly does that mean? Well, sources close to the case confirm authorities are now considering foul play and that this missing teen case could become a criminal investigation. Sebastian's mother and stepfather broke their silence, talking about how he disappeared from their home overnight a week ago Sunday. The two spoke on a YouTube podcast called Missing Tennessee with Duchess.
And when I went to wake him up for school, he wasn't here.
Between the hours of 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked.
Basically vanished. I've never heard anyone say basically. Was it on this photo? Was it on this video, Mohawk? The one you're talking about? Is that the one you're talking about? Evidence usually call them leads. They call it evidence. Very good observation, Mary. A very good observation, I might say. Absolutely.
And gone.
Gone.
He didn't take the phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Authorities have named no suspects and say that to date, the parents have fully cooperated with the investigation. Detectives now will re-interview and vet everyone that had contact with Sebastian, looking for any inconsistencies. And they are asking the public to provide
Wait till we get to McDonough's live.
any ring camera videos, not just from Sunday night when they believe he disappeared, but of anything suspicious of much earlier in the day.
That's the, earlier on in the day is, when Edgar says, listen, police authorities have told me I cannot speak about that, and I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to do it. So full of shit. So full of shit. Okay, so was it on this one? Did they show anything? Hold on. Right here, Mohawk? It's got to be on the last one then. I guess it's got to be on the last one, right? Can you text it to me? I guess it's got to be on the last one. All right. Now watch this. This one. Coming up, week of April 21st to 25th. What's it like to spend 20 years in prison? Well, isn't that something? You're charging your phone. Okay, it's okay. I know, Leslie. You're right. The first one you showed, I think. Okay. We'll go back to that one. 2 seconds. Let me just see here. So this one. All right, so it's this one, but let me see if I can find it.
Boy out of Sumner County, Tennessee, and one suspect, whether I did it or not. They'll look at it. They'll have to find evidence linking me to it. So, yes, they'll
Okay, it's got to be toward the end.
appeared earlier in the day.
And
Yes, Joe Clyde interviews was barefoot in a real cure they are working on that we don't know that they have. We
Oh, right there. Okay. Damn. Makes me go to a commercial again.
Okay, we are back
Alrighty,
on Morning
good
Line.
man.
Nick Barris, thanks for joining us. Facebook could be.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause it so it doesn't go to the next one. Okay. Why is it not getting bigger? I don't see that it's got anyone there in a swimsuit. No, let me just, well, damn. Let me make a screenshot of this. I'm pretty sure that's the one you're talking about. And again, I don't think it's that one. Here, I'll show it to you. Oh, shit. It's gotta be this. I just enlarged it. Here you go. It's right here. They all got long sleeves on. The logo has pink short sleeve t-shirt. Yeah. It just shut Chris up to almost sucks. You know, Jennifer, I didn't get to listen to all of her live. I got a phone call, but Jennifer made a good she's like they pay $15,000 for a private detective, a private eye, but never gave anything to the reward fund. Oh, me too, Mama Cedar. Oh, me too. It's ridiculous at this point. All right, guys. This is a really good, very interesting thing to watch here. And it starts from the interview room. I know some of you guys have asked me to replay this, and it's been a long time. But this was originally 10 months ago, May 26, 2024. Chris McDonough, our friend and yours, from the interview room. If you have not subbed up to Chris, does Steve Johnson have I know he's got a website, Truth to Lies. And what did that $15,000 get them? BS on X? Yeah, pretty much. Mom could be knowing them. So you can take classes from Steve Johnson too. He's got very, very informative classes if you're into statement analysis, that kind of thing. He does have a YouTube channel. Is it Truth to Lies as well? It's a really good one. It's a really good one, girl mom. This one is. All right. So credit goes to our friend and yours, the interview room. Link will be provided in the description. And you may notice that you may come away noticing some new
either a
things.
911 call they want analyzed, or actually quite often it's an interview. And I've done this for police investigators.
Let me get to it.
Parent, what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation
The audio's a little of Edgar and KK in the beginning. Just wait, though. It'll get a little bit better.
right now? How are you coping?
Rocking.
We're on a constant roller coaster ride of helpless and hopeless and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop.
One thing he says in this interview is helpless and hopeless. And the other interview with the hands, he talks about optimism is at an all-time high. I've always wondered what they were like a day apart. This is the same time that he and KK refuse the interview with Nick Barris as well, by the way.
It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Also, until he walks through the door. Well, Sebastian is a 15-year-old boy, right? With a chromosome deletion, mentally and physical ailments as well, until we get him, right? Or we find him. He's not, it could happen, I guess, but obviously he is in a place where he can't just walk through the door at that moment, or probably any moment, because at this point it's 10 days in or so. It's up for you guys to get out there and find him. Law enforcement, you to do your part, everyone to do their part. So he doesn't just walk through the door.
Let's hold it right there, Chris. Okay, so a couple things. First thing is that stepdad, his name is Chris as well. So stepdad Chris, he says, well, first of all, I got to note that mom did not answer, and I'm wanting to hear certain things from mom as a biological mother. I want to hear right away her expression of concern about her son and what he is experiencing at this time. He's been missing for 8 days. And I know that the reporter, she targeted, that question to what they have been feeling, but the feeling of any parent, the grief over their missing child is going to override anything that they may be experiencing themselves. That feeling of what is Sebastian going through? What is he experiencing? Does he?
Right. What is Sebastian going through right now? He obviously can't get to you, Edgar and KK. So it's not about him getting to you, it's about you getting to him.
Did he find some shoes? Is he getting fed? Is he staying warm?
Right. Their main concern is making sure, wherever Sebastian is that he is okay until they find him. Right? Wherever you are, Sebastian. Just please, whoever has you, please take care of our son. Please take care of him. Whatever he needs, whatever, he likes this game and he likes that and his favorite foods are this or whatever. That's how you're going to describe it. Oh, thank you, Lakeside. I love you. You're good to me. Thank you, baby. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you, honey. I really do appreciate that, Lakeside.
At night? Is he all these a myriad of things? Did he find someone to take care of him? Is he scared? Is he okay? And just a myriad of things, and that would override everything else. And so I'm wanting to hear that from Mom right away, but she couldn't come up with anything. And I've seen that in other cases where and I should say cases where the parents actually had some guilty knowledge of the disappearance of their.
Joanne Jackson, you're exactly right. Deception Detective did mention that. I can tell you, yes. At the days after 2 days, I think, after I called out from 6:03 to 6:33. What the hell were they doing? Right? Because there was no phone call to law enforcement at any rate till 6:33. What the hell did they do for 30 minutes? Sing Kumbaya? What'd they do? The interview after that, which is the year mark interview, that's when they started saying 6:30. 6:30. I mean, of course they adjust it. They adjust it. But here's the thing. They can adjust it for the public, right? They can definitely adjust it for our ears. But what they can't adjust is if it is untruthful, phone calls will be part of that, right? If they say, I called her at 6:43. Well, if there was not a call at all, or it wasn't until 10:45, you can say it, but just because someone says it doesn't make it true either. So they can adjust it, and that's what I really wonder. Is he just adjusting this new saying, oh well, the neighbor came out and said he was out taking the trash. He came forward. Oh, there isn't a car. Oh, Seth wasn't seen on camera for 2 hours. I mean, is he doing this just for the public's sake now? Is that what it's for? Because all three of those things, he knows. He knows that is which neighbor? There's only 3 houses right there. So, which neighbor? Nobody is taking out their damn trash, wheeling through multiple yards at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I guess, but but I also think, why would somebody do that after you've repeatedly said so many different things, number one, and number two, you've obviously talked to law enforcement about certain aspects and what you told them. And are you changing it here online? And law enforcement is watching anytime and every time they are doing an interview, any of the parents. And then I think sometimes people speak to the interview of the moment. They answer the question of just that moment. However, the person is asking them, they'll answer the question the best way that they can at that moment, and they'll switch it later. I don't know, but it's really bad. Thank you again, Lakeside. Thank you so much, my dear, and thank you, Hey Jude. Good to see you, honey. Hope you are well. Annette, good to see you. Kativa, hello. Darlings, didn't call 911 in a panic. Hell no. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. And I mean, law enforcement was there because we couldn't understand. You know, they said, well, law enforcement was there really quick after we called. And we were like, well, from 6:03 to 7, that's not really quick, And we couldn't understand from 6:03 to 6:33, there was nothing done except that Seth was text at 6:20. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Exactly. That's exactly right. Justin Chris McDonough predicts they will adapt their stories in the live. Yes. Hey, Jude. Of course, Chris has said this in many, many cases, and he is absolutely right. These people absolutely adapt their stories because, listen, whenever there is no such thing as a perfect anything, nothing is perfect. Nothing, no story or anything. So you can't think about all the angles, even if something is pre-planned, which, we don't know if that is in this case or not. And so once those questions arise, that is whenever they have to, adapt. They text 911 to Seth, but don't call 911. Yeah. And they also say, well, if there wasn't a medical emergency or Sebastian was blah, blah, something happened, you can bet she would have called 911. I can't think of a really a bigger emergency than your child not being in your home. And I certainly wouldn't think that he walked out the door, especially if he's never done it before. There was no reason. And he took a very powerful sleeping agent pill to make him sleep. I don't know why he walked out the door. Well, how the hell do you know? 'Cause no one else does. Brianna's World, thank you so very much, my dear Justin. Keep putting the truth for Sebastian. We want Sebastian found and get justice for. Thank you so much, Brianna. I really do appreciate that. You guys, I give you my opinion, and we do speculate and all that, but it is just amazing to me how many on this case have flip-flopped. Regardless, like I understand it's gotten messy, and all of that, but people, it's just really weird. This is a very weird case. People say you lie and everything else, and it's just gotten really disgusting.
Of their child, and when they don't come up with it right away, it's almost as if they were asked something that they weren't expected to be asked, and then because lots of times parents will go into their once they're asked questions, they have a narrative, and that's what they think is just enough. Whatever's in their head, they think it's enough to suffice the questions that they will be asked. And if they're asked a question that doesn't quite fall in line, they're kind of at a loss of what to say.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
so I'm
Hunter. I
wanting to hear
appreciate it.
Mom express things about Sebastian, and she couldn't do it. What she did say is, "I wouldn't wish this on anyone." Chris, that refers to what she's going through, not what Sebastian is going through. And that's the thing that really caught my attention, is that she has put the focus on herself rather than her 15-year-old son. And he's autistic and he has special needs, and I just don't, that just was abrasive to me. It struck me as not what I expected to hear from biological mom.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
No, you're on.
Thank you so much, Widow Honey. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're driving safe. If you're out on the road, maybe Ellie has said all the lies to Edgar and he's just repeating them. I mean, law enforcement can lie to you. Yes, they can. I don't think he's going to repeat them. I think, in my opinion, he's going to offer up as little words as possible to law enforcement. I just think he's just going to just offer up as little as possible. If you notice in the phone call, again, during that day that Edgar says he wasn't even around, he tells most of the story about what Katie and Sebastian did that day. But after they get home that night, it becomes a one-word answer. Yep. Nope. Not sure. 3 hours. Not telling you that. 1, 2, 3-word answers. Everything. Very vague. And someone being very vague about a child going missing whenever you should have a hell of a lot to say, that they need an out. They need an out. So that's why many people keep it vague.
On a roll. I'm listening.
Well, if you have something to
Thank
say
you,
about
Widow.
that, because I'm going to go back to what stepdad Chris said.
Yeah, no, and
Thank you,
the
Miss
rocking,
Holly. Thank you, baby.
that
Appreciate you.
sometimes is a stress relief.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes for people, they're releasing that tension and that energy, because to Steve's point, they may have something going on that we don't know. And by the way, just for the record, in the beginning of this, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. We're not here to say, they're innocent or they're guilty. That's not what we're doing. We're analyzing.
And same for me. I am never said anyone is guilty here on this case. Never said someone is guilty. Now, what I do wonder, and I have a lot of questions, as does the public, of why the behavior, why the changing stories, why the vagueness, why about things you say that we know is not true. And that is, for instance, law enforcement doesn't want me to talk about a certain day, or I can tell you times, but not exact times. Law enforcement has told me not to say. But we know that's not true. And you have been saying this for the past 14 months. And a few months ago, when we got the email from the detective, you've been saying that for 14 months. It's not true. Why can you not say it whenever you're the only one? Don't add, don't take away, he says. Yes. And semantics are very big, he says, in this instance. In my opinion, they sat in the fifth wheel watching everyone search for Sebastian. They were so busy searching YouTube videos and comments to see what everyone was saying about them. No urgency to find Sebastian. Heather, well stated, in my opinion, as well. I totally agree with that. And I think that's exactly what they do now. Still, they want to know what, we're talking about, how things can constantly adjust. And he says that about cameras. Yes, that as well, girl mom. That as well. I want to know about Jeff. Why is he saying Jeff is in this camper park whenever allegedly Jeff lives 39 minutes away? Why?
From a professional perspective, where both of us have testified in court as
Thank you, Always on Empty. Really
experts
appreciate you, my friend. Thank you
in
so
our
much.
field. Steve is an expert in analyzing this statement analysis and identifying deception. It is much different in a criminal case than it is in the civilian court for a civil case, because in a criminal case, you have jeopardy and you have people that could lose their liberty. So they have a lot more to lose than just their house or their money.
That's right.
That's
right. We are only the court of public opinion. We are not a judge. We are not a jury. No one has been named as suspects in this case publicly, and no one has been charged. That being said, the public can still ask questions, and that's all we're doing. I mean, if you look at people who are more supportive to KK and Edgar, but yet they might, trash some of us, they say the same thing that we say, except they say, oh, well, Katie is still my number one suspect, is what they say. And I don't know what really the difference there is, though. I really tend to agree with McDonough on so many cases. Of course, he nails it here as well. I agree. I think I've always. I'm just trying to think of a case where I haven't agreed with Chris on anything, and I don't really think there's been one since I've came to YouTube. I know that. I mean, when Chris first came to YouTube, I was literally, when he was a small channel, he's the longest membership I've ever had on any channel. Chris McDonough is. I started watching him, I think even before Suzanne Morphew, but I know that's when he started really talking about, doing more cases and stuff. He did a great job on Suzanne Morphew. So
this is a different type of analysis that we're looking at. So I don't have any other thing, to dovetail into what you've already said so far, Steve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Going back to the first thing that Chris said, he said, we're on a constant roller coaster of helpless and hopeless. Now, here's the thing about this, and some people, I hope you can see what I'm going to say here.
Hello, Vinny.
Where I'm going with this. That
Listen to
is
this.
a portrayal of emotion such as you would read in a novel. It is something that, in other words, something that I don't expect to come from a de facto innocent parent. It is something that would be said to cover, because it to cover up some guilty knowledge. Let's say it is something that appeals to the emotion of the listener, of the interviewer, of everyone out there listening to the news. Chris is appealing to that emotion.
Yep.
And I almost feel bad calling him Chris, because I like you so much, and I'm saying Chris, and I'm referring to this guy here. So
call me Mac.
Okay.
And we'll differentiate the two.
I love when he says that. Call me Mac.
No,
So the important thing is that the first thing that he went to was helpless and hopeless. And Chris, it's just that a de facto innocent person is going to have hope.
Yes. Yes. And that's and right here, when this interview was taken, 10 days in. Very similar in Summer Wells case. A few hours of Summer going missing. People have reported him saying, well, I'll see her in the resurrection. In this case, you have Seth saying, Edgar comes to him and saying, what if this goes downhill, right? Calls his ex-wife on Wednesday. Sebastian technically is found missing Monday morning, saying, we're not having court next week. Well, it sounds like that makes you wonder if he knows that he is not coming home, right? I mean, telling the father who just, got there, after Edgar got there, what if this goes downhill? What if this goes south? Saying that on day one, later on saying, we need to get our story straight. Well, nobody needs to get anything straight if nobody is involved, right? That would set off alarm bell after alarm bell. I agree, Scotty. That's my opinion too. SL says trying to prepare Seth, in my opinion. Right. Who loses hope on day one or day three? People have hope for decades in some cases. That's one of the only thing that keeps them going. In this one, he says helpless and hopeless. But in the next interview with the Hands, that's when he says optimism is at an all-time high. What changed? What changed?
They are going to hold out for hope. I know of cases where a child disappeared and the parents held out for hope that child is going to return for over 20 years. And even when investigators finally discovered that the child had been murdered, the parents refuse to let that into their vocabulary and
Yes,
declare
Steve.
the child deceased. They, for 20 years, they referred to him in the present tense and as alive and gonna come back.
And you got to remember, he's talking about the present tense here. What did KK do on the year anniversary of Sebastian? Sebastian would have been 16. Would have. Now, again, we kind of talked about this last night, but there are people out there that are alleging that KK slipped up and said that Sebastian could have been unalived. Now, if that is true, please God, let law enforcement have that. But they leak. They leak. Your brain, and that's why I always say your brain naturally knows how to speak, right? It doesn't want to lie. That's whenever, one second, y'all. So whenever Edgar said, I don't know, we weren't down there maybe 18 hours. He kept saying, we were down there, we did this and we did that. I knew he was not alone. And then he caught himself. Not we, I. KK didn't go with me. Well, you're right. She didn't go with you on that. But you weren't alone that evening. You weren't alone that evening. And that's when I was like, oh, he wasn't alone. Your brain doesn't lie. And especially after you get comfortable with saying a story, you've really, you got to check it. You got to check it because he caught himself just like KK caught herself and goes, and is quiet for a second and then redoes it. Yeah. Can you tell us who went with him to get the trailer? I can tell you 2 people very, very close went with him and was with him that evening. Very, very close. I'll just say that. Very, very close. Thank you, always on empty. Appreciate you, my dear.
My point is that it's very difficult for them to let go. Now, this is a stepdad. It's easier for him to let go, for sure. And men in general can also let go easier than biological mothers can. But mom didn't answer, and so he went to helpless and hopeless. And that is not only an appeal for listeners to believe him, but it is an indication that there is no hope in his mind that Sebastian is coming back, and they're helpless. And in my mind, I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You're talking to the news right now.
Right.
You should be portraying this. You should be so happy that we're on the news and hey, everybody, that we're getting the word out. Here's what he was wearing, and let's go out and find him. And it would be like that. I would be very hopeful at that point that I'm getting it way out there to everyone. Now, we learned that this interview came 8 days into the disappearance, and I'm wondering, what is the holdup?
Next week.
Why hasn't
Yes,
this
the 28th.
happened before? And it's my understanding that the parents wouldn't do an interview. And is that correct? To your knowledge?
I do not know that, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I won't touch on that then, but I would have I would like to see the parents right away coming out and saying, hey, our child is missing and this
They
is who
would
he
not.
is, and let's get the information out. But that didn't happen. And instead, we have this portrayal of helpless and hopeless, and mom not telling us the things that a de facto innocent biological mother should be telling us about the concern over her son. Instead, she's focusing on herself. So that's so
what it's
far,
always
that's
been for
what we
them.
got.
I love
And
it.
so let's, yeah,
And
keep going.
I guess
It has always been about them. That's it. That's it. It's never been the reaching out for Sebastian to Sebastian, right? It has always been about me, 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 me. It's never been about getting the word out, getting more people to notice that Sebastian is missing, is out there. Why? Why? Because, you say, well, yeah, I'll go talk about Sebastian, but you talk about yourself and how innocent you are and how you've been wronged. Well, what about Sebastian? He's the victim in this. He is the victim. And nothing should be over that, right? That should be number one. Let's find Sebastian. What can I do? And everything else is just background music at this point, right? Let's find him and let's do this so I can show you. I will show you when he is found, when it's all said and done. When he is found and found safe, or that he walked out on his own, then, it's done. We know. But you're not even helping to get there. Did they get their new motorcycle yet? I don't know, to be quite honest with you. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is the X silent? Thank you so much. Allegedly, CP buys time to lie in interview when asked, scratches on his arms. Which arm? I.e., time to think. But he answers before question repeated. Elaborate BS. Dog bite, scratch, liar tactic. Yes. He does that in Nancy Grace's interview on the hard questions. He goes, how does he do it? He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't know, who you were talking to." And then he starts stuttering. He's like, Sebastian got caught, He does that. Not only does that, but you will see him say, can you repeat the question? Because it gives your brain time to think and get the shock value off of, oh, this is the question that I really don't want to fucking answer right now. So let me calm it down a little bit. And you're exactly right. It's a constant tactic. Also, you were speaking about those bites. I wanted to talk to you guys about Sebastian's condition. He has a condition, a chromosome deletion called 6q27 deletion syndrome. That deletion syndrome things can come with it, and one is uh, some of the physical and abnormalities and the signs and the symptoms. Early in speech and motor skills delay, range from mild to severe, intellectual disabilities, low muscle tone. So that could be why he was really thin as well. Part of it could be, may or may not be. I'm not a doctor. Um, Seizures and epilepsy. Allegedly, he had some when he was younger. But one thing that I found when it came to behavioral, uh, one is difficulty focusing or sitting still, easily distracted, may meet criteria for ADHD. This is one: hitting, biting, or head banging, often due to frustration or communication difficulties. Self injury behavior, such as especially in nonverbal individuals. Meltdowns or outbursts triggered by sensory overload or transitions. Generalized anxiety or social anxiety, sudden mood swings, increased sensitivity to stress or environmental changes. Sleep disturbances often go in hand with anxiety. Um, may be overly sensitive to noise, light, touch, and texture. Uh, let's see here. Alternatively, may seek out intense sensations, jumping, spinning, chewing, difficulty filtering sensory input can lead to behavioral deregulation. Repeated speech or repeated play, intense certain topics, objects, or routine. Um, those kind of things. And so it's you can biting others uh is one of those. Remember how she says Sebastian would get up in your face, and from what I have been told, that there were times where KK and Sebastian would have a meltdown, and he would like either go out, kind of go out to the garage, if the garage door would be open, or like the back patio or outside, and you could hear him having a meltdown. And especially like if KK was there alone, allegedly, and he would allegedly get up, pretty close. And I just can't help but think, I just can't imagine Edgar saying, "Oh, I know he's, you know, he- this is his chromosome deletion, why he's doing this, or he's autistic is why he's doing this." I don't think he would see, in my opinion, the aspect of the chromosome deletion versus he's just not being an unruly child, right? Just because someone doesn't look, they're not bedridden or whatever, it doesn't mean they don't suffer with something. And I just feel like Edgar, and maybe even KK, never seen him, especially Edgar, just my opinion, didn't see him with as having a chromosome deletion. Like they knew it, or he knew it, but he didn't understand it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think it's kind of like almost, when you see someone with Alzheimer's or dementia or anything like that, they can look fine from the outside, like it can be your mom, and they can say something off the wall to you, and it hurts, right? Because that's your mom, and she looks fine, but you can't take it personally, right? And I feel kind of like that many times with things you can't see, especially if there's something mental going on. They're there, they're fine, they're physically fine, but they say something off the wall or with their behavior, and you can't take it personal. And I just think they didn't see that. What did Mohawk say? I don't know what Mohawk said. We'll see. Let me check here.
We can call him CP.
CP. All right. Good deal.
And that way folks don't get my name and his name mixed up,
Good. Thank you for that.
which is the same name. And that was a suggestion from the chat. All right. You want me to keep moving, brother?
Let's go. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Not anymore. I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna come home.
He's going to walk through that door. And this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's gonna have more friends
Yep,
than
that
he knows
criminal.
what to do with when he comes home.
Yeah, he was charged the other day.
So
Hold up right there before we get into the next part. It's interesting that interviewer, she's the one that she sensed that something was wrong. You can tell, and she introduced.
Mohawk has really talked on the deep pressure hugs, like said. That can go really wrong, if someone gets emotional or they don't know what they're doing.
Well, how about keeping hope alive? I'm sure that's in there somewhere, isn't it? And she wants to hear that.
Yes.
She's as an interviewer,
right.
as a working for the news. I'm sure she's interviewed a lot of different people and
I'm
watched
sure.
a lot of interviews, and she knows what comes out of the mouth of a parent whose child is missing. She's wanting to hear certain things, and she didn't hear it, and so I'm sure she's helping them out here, and it couldn't come out. Mom couldn't get it out of her mouth. Again, why aren't we hearing that type of language out of her mouth? It's void. She's void of it. Yet it's at different times we're going to see during this interview that she's very teary-eyed and she's sad and I believe that she is. I believe that they're real tears. Chris, you and I have both seen fake tears in interviews many times, and the fake emotion and whatnot. I think the mom is sad here.
I think she's sad here too. I've always thought KK is sad. I do, but I also think during these moments, it's the accumulative of everything that's going on, and she has to do the part, and she has to be on edge on these interviews, in my opinion.
It doesn't speak to being sad. Doesn't speak to innocence or guilt. It's just she is sad at the situation. But if she really was concerned about Sebastian, those words about him would be coming out. She wouldn't be focused on herself. And so this indicates to me that she is more in a.
KK mentions it in one of those. She mentions it somewhere that she will give pressure hugs, if I
mode of
recall.
self-preservation than anything.
Sure
So
she
I'm
did.
going to see how she does throughout the rest of the interview, and hopefully, I want to hear it change. I don't want to see at the end that she's went through this whole thing in self-preservation mode. I would like to see a change
That's
to
all
where
it's
she's
been.
expressing more concern about Sebastian.
Okay, so I'm going to back up just for
That's
a
all it's
second
been.
so that the audience can hear those points that you just made, and I agree with them. Agree with you 1,000%. And that sadness also could be. It doesn't necessarily mean, it's sadness towards the totality of the circumstances. It could be sadness that, if there's some type of jeopardy there, that
Right. I think it's a
this is kind of
totality
a
of the
release
circumstances.
of that stress, and that's where also the soothing of the rocking back and forth comes into this as well. So I'm going to back up just for a second. Listen to how this unfolded.
With family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
Well,
That boy's going.
I mean, Petra, the thing about it, I believe that if you've spoken to the neighbors and they clearly see what they see on camera, clearly, and they know what they know, and you've seen it with your own eyes that there is people out walking with a flashlight in front of a car. You see the lights pop on, tail lights, headlights. You see the light kick on at the house, right? You see them walking through the yard. And remember, it's about a 5 or 6 minute video. We've seen 30 seconds of it. And you see someone walking in your yard and your neighbor's yard just 2 hours and 45 minutes before you discover your son missing. You would be interested as shit in that, right? And they're not. They're not. And yet they're interested in someone walking their dog up the road. Again, that law enforcement has said is nothing at all. Same, Kelsey. Same.
Have more.
Now, the interesting part there is he keeps shaking his head no, yet he's talking about all the family and
It's like
relatives coming
purgatory.
in
You just can't get out.
to hug him and stuff. Any thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah, it's an indication that in his mind he knows that that's not going to happen. And the brain is so powerful, and what the brain knows is typically comes out physiologically and verbally, linguistically. What the brain knows reveals itself, and that's why the polygraph works, the voice stress analyzer works, and why statement analysis works so well if you're skilled at it. And so he's saying one thing, but that head nod is giving us a different.
Yeah, and I mean it has to be, and remember, it has to be something that the teachers feel is concerning, right? That something is going on. He burnt popcorn. He is, isn't he? Oh, well, there's been so many anger management classes. So many. And if there is a case opened up when your son goes missing, already opened up, alarm bells. Hearing that Craddock was chief detective at the time makes me very worried. No justice will come. I pray I'm wrong. I think they have a lot. I really do. I really want them to find Sebastian? That's the thing. Where is he? Where is he? What did whoever took him, where did they put him? Where did they put him? Someone put him somewhere. He didn't remove himself. Why would he? Exactly, Bogey. Exactly. How are you doing, girl? Well, I heard FBI are watching, so they will know. Well, I mean, that's funny. Sky Maiden. Oh, really? Lakeside. I've not heard that. Yes, thank you for saying that. Yeah, please put in my opinion or allegedly, so nobody will think it is a fact if it's not a fact. That's very important.
Answer that that's really not going to happen.
Yeah, and if we go back, if anybody wants to see, we did an analysis on in Summer Wells' case. You can see it in the playlist early on. Steve caught so many things in that situation, and it was indicative of a father talking on the news, going like this, going like this. All right, so that good catch. Hang on.
He's gonna walk through that door.
Right.
And the street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug and love him. And
That boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
I know you do, Bogey, honey. Good to see you.
So here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that.
They do.
I get the sense that she's really.
Trust me, the police, I can tell you this, they're working hard. They are working hard. I'm telling you. And they do want this solved. They do want this solved.
Really concerned about that question. I mean,
Oh, yeah. I love those questions. And
yeah, you get used to it, don't you, Nancy?
For your viewers, if they don't know, that's one of the questions that you and I would ask in an investigation, especially with a missing person or a homicide. Hey, describe your last moments with your loved one. Describe that last day with Sebastian. And if there was something amiss, if something bad happened, it's going to make them very, very nervous, as you know. So it's interesting to see now with that question and where it focused her brain, what she says here.
So many people
I agree, girl,
who really
mom.
want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about
I
that
need
day.
to
We were
tell
having a really good
Josh
weekend.
to ask, or I can text Chris
We
maybe
got
and tell
home.
him. Say, y'all go over the new
Everything
interviews.
was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you." Said good night to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed.
Praying Brianna.
When I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
All right. So there's actually a lot in that. She doesn't realize she actually skipped over. I mean, she described that day and evening very succinctly, but skipping over a lot of information. What they did that day, other conversations.
Well,
she didn't say.
That is one of, and you're exactly right, Lakeside. That's one of the things that they say every single time they open their mouth. I keep wondering why they are so sure no evidence and he won't be found. I always wonder that as well myself. Like, why does Edgar and KK say there is no evidence of anything? Well, that's not true, because Brandon's, Mr. Carter's, Sheriff Carter's last interview, he says, of course we have things, but we just can't show it because it would jeopardize the investigation. Number one. Now, number two, I have never heard Edgar say that Sebastian wouldn't be found. I know a lot of people say that, but I have never heard him directly say that Sebastian would never be found. I have heard him say Sebastian may never be found, to something like that extent, you know, but I have still yet to hear the words, "He will not be found," like that. I know that there are creators out there that say that he has said it. I mean, unless I missed it or over, haven't heard it, um, but I've never heard him say it like that. Again, that still doesn't change anything, you know, uh, and what I believe based upon, the things we know. Police will not tell a parent that their child's case will be studied for years to come. Oh, hell no. No, of course not. Of course not. Sorry, my dog's barking.
A whole lot, but from in my perspective, what she did say was actually pretty
I think it was something
revealing.
like that, Rico. Yeah.
So the first thing that she said was, one of the first things was that that day was pretty normal. Now, whenever I hear somebody refer to the day as being pretty normal, I'm on alert right away for it not being a normal day. I hear this most of the time when I hear the portrayal of normalcy. It has turned out to be anything but the norm, and so I'm on high alert now. Why would she say this? And I want to hear other things about in experiential language from her. We did this. We went here. We went there.
The definition of evidence is the available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. So the verb is be or shown evidence of. So, we have evidence that there was a car catty corner to the yard. We have evidence that there is two human beings out there walking, one walking toward the house, two coming back, one running back, the other one's backing up. We have evidence that the light came on, the tail light, the headlight came on. There is the lack of evidence of Sebastian not being seen on camera, that there is no dog scent, that he has not been seen by a person, that there has been no articles of clothing, no footprints. That is evidence in itself that he did not walk out that door. you can't have all of those things and say, well, he walked out the door. Show me where you believe or some sort of evidence pointing to him walking out the door. Because if there is no evidence of any of that, but there is evidence of a car pulling up at 3 a.m. up the street, going back, going right there in the middle of the road, that is evidence that something has taken place. How often is someone going to go in this neighborhood, go up one street, turn around, and then pull on Kellen, get out of their vehicle, go towards the house that a child went missing from, is going to be missing from, and it not be anything? I mean, people can, get up here and scream and yell and say, oh, well, he he walked out, or maybe he was on a speaking to someone over the internet or whatever. Well, where's the evidence of that? It's just a theory, right? I mean, you can have a theory that little green man came down and took him, but what is that? Where's it pointing toward? We have, in my opinion, more evidence to say that this is foul play, that he did not take himself out, which we know it's foul play because of the email, but we've known that for quite some time. No evidence is evidence, absolutely. So
Try to get him to wear his,
and it's finding, and law enforcement may even know. Hopefully they do. I'm sure that they do by now. But whoever was in that vehicle, they're going to have to place them in that vehicle. And then you have a parent and parents who are, very protective of anyone even thinking about, going in their neighborhood, let alone going in their yard at any time, not even when your child goes missing, but they're not interested someone being in their yard the night their child went missing, but they're interested in every other thing. Now that is red flag central. Red flag central.
his new shirt. He didn't want to. He said, Mom, I'm going to wear this one instead. Little things, little nuances about the day. But we didn't hear those things. She skipped over a lot of those things, which is more times than not, when somebody portrays the day as normal, it's a way of saying, hey, you should believe me that it was a normal day, and not ask me any details about the day. Just accept that it was a good day. It was a normal day. Or they will say some things that, and not in this particular case, but sometimes they'll portray it as normal, saying something in present tense, indicating this is what we always do on our normal day.
Well, I mean, also think about that. They had to have some sort of evidence, circumstantial at the very minimum, to lead them to a landfill a state away, right? That's why you need a probable cause affidavit, right? To get those warrants, to get the judge to sign them as well. Brinks trucks have security cams, Diana said. Well, she's got audio and video recording in her car, but yet she doesn't have any audio and video recordings in their home. And I want to be clear, they didn't say they didn't have any audio or video. They said they can't answer that, which makes, again, no sense. So to me, it's just that they don't want to answer the question because, in my opinion, they certainly do. I can't imagine KK allowing her son to be home for a couple hours, especially Edgar, and she not being able to see what he is doing while she's at work or Edgar is at work or whatever. Someone who installs these day in and day out. Allegedly, it has been stated that Edgar Blue Angel, I've heard that. I've heard that. I just think there's a lot more things that we don't know, or things will come out at some point later. Some CP told someone is nobody's business what is in their home. I don't know why it is such a a big secret. Things that you wouldn't normally think is a big secret, right? Like, do you have cameras in your home? Where were you at Sunday afternoon whenever Sebastian was not missing? He was not missing Sunday afternoon. So where were you? Well, law enforcement doesn't want me to say that. No, they don't care. Again, with the phone or the vehicle pings, if you will, why would they search? They wouldn't have. The warrant is not going to cover 7 hours of the I can't even think of the name right now. The warrant, what fencing, geofencing. The warrant's not going to cover 7 hours of geofencing after he is reported missing. Why would it cover another 7 hours of geofencing, breaking people's really constitutional privacy? 7 hours afterwards of him going missing. You don't need to check 7 hours of geofencing after he was reported missing because he's gone. You need to check up until the time that you called non-911 number. He wants you to think, oh, well, they checked my truck at 1:30 in the afternoon when 7 billion other cars was there and 7 trillion other people were there. They're not going to do that. Geofencing does not work like that. Police are also not going to be doing the geofencing in front of them. No, not at all. Blue Angel, thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate you. LJ Forever, hey, how you been as well? Good to see you, LJ Forever and Blue Angel. Really do appreciate you both. Both are very kind. Police are not going to be doing the or then do other channels that don't agree with the green team go over scenarios like no, they don't. They sure don't. No. They just trash other people. That's all they do. That's it. That's it. You mother chicken tragedy. That's all they do. Not productive.
And it allows them to not say what actually happened that day in a past tense. And so it's kind of two birds of the same feather here. She's telling us right away, normal day, but I don't hear the language of this is what we did, experiential language. So she's went to I told it when I told him to go to bed, he did, and she kind of laughed. And it's what is that? It's a reference to him not going to bed, him, times that he hasn't gone to bed. And so she's kind of laughing at it like, for once he did, or this time he did. And the problem I have with it is that it is a portrayal or a reference to something negative that Sebastian could have done. So I'm now on alert, and what she says next kind of seals the deal for me. And I don't like what I'm hearing here, because she says, he said, "I love you, Mom," and he went to bed. Now,
she didn't say
saying
love you
I
back,
love
did she?
you.
Listen to this. This is very important, guys.
Saying I love you is something that we all do. I'll call my wife. I'll talk to her on the phone. I'll say, "I love you, babe." When I'm leaving, I'll say, "Hey, I'm running out. I'll be back soon. Love you." My daughters are here. When they leave or going somewhere, "All right, love you." We say I love you a lot, but we don't have the need to tell other people that, hey, by the way, I told my wife I loved her. If we're asked about our day, we just say, "Oh, I had dinner with the family, and oh, my wife and I went here or there, or to drop my wife off at the airport," whatever it is. And these situations are situations where we would say I love you, but it's the need here that she has to tell the world that, hey, my son told me he loved me. So that, on top of it's a normal day and this little hint at a negative reference that sometimes Sebastian doesn't cooperate with me, doesn't do what I tell him to do, a little laugh about it, I'm now alarmed, because more times than not, when I hear this "I love you" come out of their mouth, I know that it is often a time when, if a crime has been committed, that is typically the time that the crime was committed. This is particularly true in domestic situations such as.
And what is that? 9:00. 9:00. 9:00. Now, did she really tell Sebastian he could stay up till 9:00? Did she really tell him that? Or was he to be in bed by 8:00 and something happen by 9:00? Now, they say they're on the phone by 9:46 or 9:48. If you go to Pat Brown's channel, she talks about how allegedly that Edgar left. She had heard that Edgar left at 9 p.m. on Sunday. From the home, which I've always found interesting. I feel like something had already happened no later than 9:46. No later than 9:46. And if you see KK's physical behavior, if you will, at Texas Roadhouse, Steakhouse, whatever, she doesn't seem it's definitely not a happy time when they're there eating. I don't see one of them crack a smile, a laugh, or anything the entire time. At all. Was she frustrated about something? Was she arguing with someone? Sometimes when a person is aggravated at someone else or something else, and another person comes to them that and that person may be aggravated about something, you can go off, right? You can snap, people snap on them. Um or whatever, but it certainly didn't seem like a very happy meal out. Usually when people are out eating, it's more of a light time. You're enjoying it. You're there with your family or your friends, and you're smiling and you're laughing and you're uh but there was none of that. It was serious the whole time. KK says that she was on her phone taking a picture of Sebastian eating his salad dressing. Well, it didn't look like she was, if she was so excited about him eating salad dressing, it didn't look like she was there to praise him and say, "Oh my gosh, Sebastian. Oh my gosh, Bubba. You're eating salad dressing. I'm so proud of you." Didn't seem like that was going on either. Didn't seem like that at all. Me to play it, K-Mac? Is that what you mean? I think that was just leakage. Perhaps. 1 second.
This domestic homicides,
I got to get Pearl. 1
other
second.
situations similar to this. So I'm always on alert when I hear that the portrayal of "I love you." And the other thing is that what that does is what she's saying is I'm such a good mother that my son told me that he loves me, and that even elevates this even more. That why the need to portray yourself as a good mom. That is something in the analysis field that we really take note of, that when there's a portrayal of being a good mom, and there are many cases. It's in the Summer Wells case, is numerous missing person and domestic homicide type cases. We see this where there's a portrayal of being a good dad, a good mom, a good guy, and it's typically that portrayal comes around the time that if a crime was committed, the crime occurred, or right after, because they're rehabbing themselves now linguistically, psychologically. They feel the need to rehab themselves, to make themselves look better, to feel better about the situation. And so for me, it's a pretty good indication that something nefarious, something didn't go quite right that night. And so
Right.
for me, it's
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't see Edgar being the type of like, "Oh my gosh, Sebastian, I am so proud of you, Mr. Mr. Edgar is so proud that you ate your salad dressing. No, at all. Like, at all.
If something occurred, it was that night, not the next morning. So yeah, I'm concerned now at this point already.
So everybody understands what Steve's doing here is he's kind of, this is, he's not dove into this case until tonight. I mean, this is literally the first time. So it's almost as if I wanted to present it to him in this video, just fresh off the boat, for lack of a better term. And that is such a solid point about a domestic situation for our viewers to understand.
What do you mean, Lolo? What were the pictures for, in your opinion? Oh, the pictures, in my opinion, were either one of two things. One, that she was saying that she was with Sebastian. Either Edgar was like, because there was allegedly a fight that day, and Edgar was like, maybe like, you cheating or something like that, and saying, basically, where you at or whatever, and who are you with? Took a picture of Sebastian or the neck. That's my opinion. I think that is the reason why one of those pictures was there. But I don't think for a second it had anything to do with salad dressing. She was trying to get Edgar's attention somehow. Well, that's the thing. There were neighbors over there at different times who would sit with KK and Sebastian, especially when times would get heated allegedly between KK and Sebastian, and just go over and help them, a couple neighbors. And she was allegedly always complaining about Edgar not being home. She did not like it that he was always gone. Right. And I mean, I get that. It's not a judgmental thing. I'm not judging her uh on that. A lot of people don't like their husband or their wife to be gone for an extended amount of time, and they get lonely and all of that. I think KK is just the type that needs a lot of attention. I think that's just how she is. The yellow coat guy had pictures of Sebastian. What proof is there of that? There is no proof of that in the bushes. None. None. There's no proof of that whatsoever.
When you have the victim looking at the person potentially doing something to them, they go,
Exactly,
but I
Scotty.
love you. Hey, and yet they're being abused or whatever the situation is. And that's the point that Steve's making here when he heard that. And I missed it until you just pointed it out. That is such a powerful statement in context to
That came from didn't that all start from that Vegas lady? Justin, there is constant construction in Nashville. Edgar could have worked much closer to home. Yeah. Right. I mean, but I do understand, I mean, they have, you got I've always given Edgar and KK the credit that they're very hard workers. And they were trying to, live the American dream, and I give them props for that. But what I they were paying for that house, their beautiful home and all that, and you might have been getting paid more uh in wherever the hell it is, Memphis, or he just might have wanted to be away. I don't know, like I said, I really don't, but that's just the only thing I could think of. Um, or it could have been, listen, I'm out of here until you figure something out. It's him or me. Could have been something like that as well. Bills for the truck, home, and other things. Yeah, I mean, we all got bills, right? All of us. And, you just, so it's just crazy.
To the experience level potentially of a domestic situation going sideways. So I'm going to keep moving. Do you want me to keep moving?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
So, in your mind, that's usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6:00? So, were you
Sorry about that.
instantly
That's
thinking
terrible.
something's wrong, or were you like, he may just.
Oh, one other thing I have to say about that last segment. Mally.
I don't think either one of them are capable of actually being faithful. I mean, I really don't. I think some people need that new love feeling all the time. Do you know what I'm talking about? That when you're first in love for the first few years, you're just like, it's just almost like a high. And I think they need that feeling constantly to feel they think that is what love is, and it is, but love is something that changes. It's different. It changes as it goes. It's the euphoria of, yeah, of the new relationship, and all of that. So, yeah, like the honeymoon phase, and I just think that that's kind of what those two need, you know what I mean? And actually, true love is, uh, you know, 15 years later when you're cleaning up vomit out of the floor or whatever, you know what I mean? That's what actually true love is. That's when you know you really love someone. But that intense love whenever you first get together with someone, you need that in the beginning to get you to there, years later. So there's that. My cat's up here now. In my opinion, Sebastian was much smarter than they gave him credit for, and maybe he became aware of credit card, and maybe he became aware of something someone was afraid he might repeat. He could have been dropped off at his dad's, but nope. Yeah, that's why I always thought, in my opinion, this is not. Hey, Muscles, darling. Good to see you, baby. Hey, Art Taylor. Good to see EMF. People coming in. Maybe I can help. Sky Maiden. But I think that's why I don't think anything is premeditated, in my opinion. I believe this is something that happened very quickly, and people had to think quick. And because he was going to his dad's house. He was going to his dad's house. And I think KK wanted to be with Chris more. And I just think that Chris could not take Sebastian, in my opinion. He just couldn't take him. He was just annoyed by him. And the thing about it is if he just admits that, it is, I think it would be a lot better if he would just admit it.
I picked it up as well, and I had her statement up there. But when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. That statement, when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. Well, what do you mean? Was he woken up? Was he not woken up? Where's that gone? What's your thoughts on that, Steve?
Yeah, that's definitely something that.
Well, okay. So something that's always been very interesting to me, Faye. Faye says, what was the problem that made KP to visiting CP at the RV at the weekends when Sebastian was at Seth's? Didn't CP need laundry, etc.? I do not. What do you got? When we first when we knew that they were staying down at the campers areas and all that, we had someone go there, and this was before anybody knew they were staying down there. We had someone go down there and speak to people. I'll just say that. And they said that KK was never there during the weekends or anything. And so I don't believe KK ever went down there on the weekends at all. Why would she go down there on the weekends whenever he could come home on the weekends when Sebastian is not there? No. And, get his clothes washed and be home and get things done around the house. And I don't think she was ever there until Sebastian went missing. I know, Lolo. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the live, to please keep Middle E in your prayers. Maybe she told Seth she was going to the campground. I mean, perhaps. But, it's clear that KK and Edgar, in my opinion, did not like Seth. Justin, that noise with the microphone sounded like Remy was messing around. What do you mean messing around? What did it sound like? At the very but right before Sebastian went missing, that's what I've got a pretty good source on that. And then, even the guy who says he went to the bar that night, what's his name? Tim, I don't know what the hell his name is. He says he was done with her. Me playing with the microphone is cute. Didn't someone say that they didn't even know CP was married? That has been stated as well. Yes, that there was people there. Jeff, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Guys, I'm almost at 3 hours. I'm going to end it here. I might come back here in just a little bit. God, we're only 45 minutes into this, and it's a 3-hour live. Want to thank Chris from the interview room. Really do appreciate you, Chris. I know there's a lot of people live right now. From Summer's Army, I've been praying for her. I have not. I think I have her phone number. If I do, I'll check on her 3-hour tour. Yeah. You're exhausted, SL. Get some rest, honey. Y'all get some rest. Work comes so early in the morning. It's craziness. I gotta bath this little one. Smiley's live. Okay, we'll go over to Smiley's as well. Thank you, Green Eyes. All right, guys. I love you all. Appreciate you. I might come back later in a little bit. We'll see. Thank you to the interview room as well. Much love, everyone. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you all. God bless each and every one of you. Good night. God bless.